When it comes to credit and finance, wake up and win with Monique Macklin.
Wealthy Rising and welcome to Wake Up and Win with Monique Macklin. You're tuned in to Morning Money Moment with yours truly, Monique Macklin, the Pink Power CEO, where I help people just like you make, manage, and multiply money so you can live the life and lifestyle that you desire to live on your terms. Now, today's topic is being poor is expensive. So listen. I know today's topic may make some people uncomfortable, but sometimes the truth makes us uncomfortable before it sets us free. Being poor is expensive. And before you get offended, I need you to hear me out. Because I'm not talking about your value. I'm talking about your financial condition. There's a difference. You see, we've convinced ourselves that because we have a job, because we're on salary, because we make $70,000 or $100,000 or even $150,000 a year, that somehow we've escaped financial poverty. Have we? Let me ask you a few questions. Are you living paycheck to paycheck? Do you have more month than you have money? Are you borrowing from Peter to pay Paul? Can you miss one paycheck without your entire financial life falling apart? Could you cover a major emergency today without having to borrow money? If your answer is no, then maybe what you have been calling middle class is really just the working poor. I know that's hard to hear, but just because we don't acknowledge a thing doesn't mean a thing doesn't exist. Ignoring reality has never changed reality. Acknowledging it is the first step toward changing it, because I can't coach the version of you that's pretending everything is okay. I can only coach the version of you that's willing to be honest. Here's what I've learned after more than 3 decades in finance. A paycheck is not wealth. Income is not financial freedom. And here's a line I want you to remember. A bigger paycheck doesn't solve poor financial habits. It simply gives poor financial habits more money to spend. I've seen people making $50,000 become financially stable. And I've also seen people making $250,000 completely broke. Because wealth isn't determined by what comes in. It is determined by what stays, what grows, and what creates options. Now, let's talk about why being poor is expensive. When your credit isn't where it needs to be, you don't just get approved. You may be asked for a deposit. Need your lights turned on? Deposit. Need gas service? Deposit. Trying to rent an apartment? Larger security deposit. Trying to finance a car? Higher interest rate. Late on a payment? Late fee. Overdraft your account? Overdraft fee. Utilities disconnected? Now you have to pay a reconnection fee. Notice what keeps happening? When you're already struggling, the system often charges you even more. That's why I say being poor is expensive. Your credit is your adult report card. It's your financial reputation. It speaks before you do. It tells lenders, landlords, utility companies, and financial institutions whether you've consistently honored your financial obligations or not. Good credit creates options. Poor credit often creates obstacles. Not because you're a bad person, but because financial risk carries a cost. And here's what I want you to think about. How much money have you paid over the years in late fees, overdraft fees, interest, reconnect fees, penalties? Imagine if every one of those dollars had stayed in your pocket. Imagine if those dollars had been invested, saved, used to start a business, or become the beginning of your emergency fund. That's why I teach financial intelligence, because I'd rather see you build wealth than continue paying penalties. I don't want you financing yesterday's decisions. I want you investing in tomorrow's opportunities. Stop chasing the appearance of wealth. Start building the foundation of wealth. Because wealth isn't about looking rich. It's about having options. It's about having peace. It's about having breathing room. It's about making decisions because you choose to, not because you're forced to. If today's message challenged you, then good. Growth usually begins with an uncomfortable truth, because once you acknowledge where you are, you can finally create a strategy for where you're desiring to go. If you'd like to spend an hour with me and begin building a strategy for your financial future, I invite you to go to www.timewithmo.com. And if you'd like to know where you stand with your personal credit, because your credit may be the very thing that's holding you back, stop avoiding it. Avoiding it doesn't help you get ahead. All you have to do is visit creditlady.info and find out exactly where you stand so you can begin making strategic financial moves. One of the things we'll never be able to get back in this life is yesterday. So let's make every day count. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for tuning in to Wake Up and Win with Monique Macklin. Thank you for joining me for another morning money moment. And in closing, as I always say, I will see you at the top because, as we all know, the bottom is way too crowded. I'll talk to you soon.